Verus, how are you?
Good, great, fantastic. Steven's been making us laugh without even we were great. We're great. It was
Good
great.
to hear.
Yeah.
Well, you played a show today at Lowlands Festival.
Yep.
How was it?
It was incredible.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
It was incredible. The people, the reception, the way that people received the message and the music was. We didn't really have expectations because we try not to, but if we were to have expectations, they would have been blown out of the water. There's no way we could have anticipated what had happened today. It was just so amazing. Our first time here too, so.
You mentioned the message. How come you were surprised that people got it, so to say?
I'm not necessarily surprised. I think it's just the way that they showed their support for a band that I don't know. I don't know if they've seen us before or heard us. I don't know. But I'm assuming that a lot of people in that crowd have not heard us before. And since that was my sort of assumption, the way they reacted felt as though they'd seen us 10 times before and had heard our music for years. You know, it was just something really special, and seemed like their investment today seemed as though they had known already. So.
And for a new band like yours, how important is that to go overseas and to get that kind of reaction?
I think it's crucial, really. You know, you can say all you want in your own little area, but I think if you really want to have an effect on the world, as cliche as it sounds, you have to introduce yourself to the world.
Right.
You know, more than just your local city or state or country for that matter. You know, you've got to really, and also to experience what's happening in other places, to get different influences artistically, aesthetically, intellectually. You know, the way that people think over here is so much different than the way that we're trained to think in America. So I think it's necessary for more than just, our, fan base. I think it's necessary for us.
Just perspective.
Yeah.
Because it's like we have the American perspective of what we're going through currently in our country, and seeing what's happening in other countries and talking to people about some of the issues that they're having and the way that they're going about handling it is very interesting. And the way that even just the way that they talk about it, and the influence of the American situation on their situation is also very, very interesting. So it's crucial for us to travel to different places and talk to people about what's happening.
Can you give an example of something that struck you as a big difference in how people maybe over here or somewhere along your travels think about something as opposed to America?
The most immediate thing was the lack of violent behavior. Was the most immediate thing, because when we were playing, I said to a gentleman, I said, "Come over here, over the barrier, because I need to ask a question about how to say something." And he hopped over the barrier and came to me, and the security guard didn't rush him, didn't manhandle him. And I think that speaks a lot to the culture here, because we in America,
we get roughed up by security.
Yeah, we as the band.
100% of the time when I go over a barrier, a security guard grabs me and pulls me back.
Yeah.
Every single time. So for a person in the audience to feel okay enough to do that, and security helps them and is fine, it really does say a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was, feeling confident and safe enough, comfortable enough to come over the barrier, and that was that. And then we had an exchange. We spoke, and then he went back. He didn't jump on it, and while I didn't grab anybody, he just went back to his spot. I think it was really, really interesting and incredible, fascinating to see how different it is.
And you mentioned the political situation, and there's things wrong in America, but all over the world at the moment. But is it fair to say that kind of sparked what this band now is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're just a response to obviously our own issues nationally, but also globally. There are so many things happening, whether they splinter off from things that that happen in our country, or they're isolated or more insular affairs in other countries. We're well aware that humanity, we're born into imperfection, and we're all trying to figure it out. And I think that this project was a response to, a sort of fever pitch that's happening worldwide, whether that be with the youth or, again, ideologically or even emotionally in a lot of ways. I think that people are really tired because we've been able to globalize with things like the internet and technology. The way that we're able to globalize now is offering, at least on your screens, other perspectives, and we see what we feel is wrong, and we'd like those things to change.
Where do you feel then that music kind of fits in kind of trying to find a form of reconciliation?
I think that history has proven time and time again that art precipitates all revolutions and renaissance, whether that be artistic, intellectual, romantic. They've all been precipitated by art. And I think that music is one of the only universal languages. There's numbers and there's music. And they operate in different fields of the brain and the heart and the human spirit. And music has spoken to me time and time again and has taken me out of positions that were detrimental to my mental and emotional health and physical health, as well as put me in some very, very auspicious and situations that I'm grateful for. So I think that music, again, it's the way that you can speak to everyone, truly everyone, without having to know every language on paper.
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say, I feel like the context also, especially when you're young, kind of opens you up to being more willing to hear different perspectives. Because there was a lot of stuff when I was a kid where I would sing along to a song and at first maybe not know exactly what they were saying. And then as I got older and started to realize their perspective, it was quite informative.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that, I grew up saying these exact words and thinking I knew what they meant. And as you get older, you start to understand deeper and deeper senses of what they mean. And I think that aspect of it is pretty exciting because a lot of people kind of turn their brains off when they hear a certain type of person speak, or they see it come out at them on a specific channel or something like that. And so music it provides a different context, which is cool.
And for the three of you yourselves then, what is it like not only having written these songs, but then getting them out on stage? How can you describe that feeling?
Yeah, we talk, Steve and I talk about it a lot too, is it's about representation, especially in rock music. It's a heterosexual white male boys club in a lot of scenarios with rock music, guitar-oriented music. So for us to go and offer, ourselves as either representation or allies to, these, even if we can't speak to a certain section of society or a section of an issue, we would love to offer representation as allies as well. So when we're getting to do that through our music on stage and just truly showing what it means to be free, because to me, that's when we're most free, is when we're on that stage, when we're writing this music, when we're getting to express ourselves. And when we're doing that, we're hoping that we can offer that as an extension to people in the crowd, or to come on stage, whatever, like we did today, and say, this is a place for you to feel safe, and a place for you to open up to be the person that you are truly inside, or the person that you want to be, that you may otherwise not be allowed or afforded the opportunity to do so. So yeah, man, just playing the music is like, again, it's expression, it's that language, and I personally feel very privileged to be able to do that every time we get on the stage.
What has the response been like then, in particular in the States, because it's still very divided.
Sure.
There's no other way to put it. So how has the response to your music and to kind of the political aspect of that been?
It depends on where we're at.
Yeah.
I think pretty much everywhere, by the end of the set, people are pretty into the show. But I think we have some pretty straightforward parts, whether it be just lyrics that stand out or a sample that says something that a lot of people don't agree with. And sometimes those parts get quiet. Sometimes if we're in the South, you'll have people cheering for the Trump parts, and that just is what it is. You know, we've got the same message no matter where we go. So it's received differently because we live in a very kind of divided country. But that being said, every time we play a show, by that last song, everyone's having a good time, regardless of what they, what side of the coin they're on.
Yeah.
And that's what's important, ultimately, is that, like, look, it is possible for all of us to be in this room
Right.
and have a good time. And if that's possible, I guarantee you it's possible we can sit down and have a conversation, which is what we do when we have a headline show. It's a little harder when we're, like, at a festival or we're supporting, like, another band. But when it's just us, we stick around and we talk. And it's cool. And it hasn't gotten crazy, really. It maybe been like 1 or 2 times where people kind of get loud or whatever, but it always ends cool.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. That's all this. We can't go anywhere. We can't progress if we can't fucking talk to each other.
Right.
So we start off being in the same room. By the end of the night, we're jumping around, having a good time together, regardless of what you feel about this subject or this subject. We're all having a good time, and then after that, we're talking.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Where else can you do that? You can't do it at work. You can't do it at school.
No.
You know what I mean? So.
Final question then. The three of you all have been in previous bands and have done well at it. So where do you see this band going now? Or do you have a vision for the band?
Yeah. Honestly, by no means do we want to chase any idea of fame, but we do want to reach as many people as possible. We think that, again, just like Steven was saying, man, it's about having a conversation. And we want to have that conversation with as many people as possible. We want that conversation to spread as widely as possible. And we want that idea of a safe space to represent yourself, to feel represented by others that may look or sound or think like you. We want to be able to truly allow that to assimilate and find its way across this earth as best we can through this universal language, which is the music. So yeah, it's like, it is, I guess, overly ambitious, but it's happened before and it could happen again. And everything that's happened before can be surpassed. So, I guess wild ambition leads me to believe that, yeah, this could go beyond the stratosphere, just because we truly believe. It's not about moving units or selling. It's about speaking to people, man, and that's really it.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.